Hello, and welcome to 2025, a year in review for an unsigned musician. Cue an intro. So, 2025, what happened? Well, to start, I need to go to 2024. And in 2024, we went and recorded in December, which was very stressful. We nearly got stranded because the weather took a particularly bad turn. So by the time we come into January 2025, we're knackered, we're burnt out. We've had a bit of a rough year last year. So we took the January and the February off just to really start the mixing process, try and get a bit ahead of ourselves on it. And as you'll see, we did not get ahead of ourselves on this at all. We come into March, and in March we had planned to do 2 runs of dates, sort of in the middle of the month, the end of the month, primarily to work around annual leave with work and stuff. We all work full time, so we've got to be careful about how we plan dates and stuff, because we can't just bash out 3 weeks in a row, because you're not going to get your time off at work for that. Started out March by playing in Newcastle with our friends in Tired of Fighting. That was a fun little gig at a place called The Grove. We then did a run of dates with our friends in The Breathing Method. They are from Scotland, and we did Nottingham, we did Blackpool, and we did Edinburgh. Now, normally when we go to Edinburgh, we do Bannerman's, which is a phenomenal venue. Really hospitable there, love the guys. They just always look after us, which is lovely. But this time we played Banshee Labyrinth, which is just up the hill. Banshee Labyrinth, if you've not been before, is really old building. You play down the stairs, it's like a kind of crypty, kind of spooky vibes. I've been told the place is haunted. I can neither confirm nor deny. You will have to go yourself. However, we watched the Carabao Cup final on that day, and we had to watch it upstairs outside on the street on an iPad from the van, because there was no signal downstairs, and we were supposed to be sound checking. As you can see, we are a consummate professional band. We have our priorities set straight. I had a good time. I'll try and find the footage. If I can stick it on, I'll put it here. And then we took about a week off, week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that, and then we did another run of dates at the end of the month on our own, where we went to the Railway in Winchester, which again, cracking venue. We did Thunderbolt in Bristol, cracking venue. The Vic in Swindon, which, as you can see, theme, cracking venue. And then the Hairy Dog in Derby, which again, cracking venue. What I will say about both Winchester and Derby is they've got food vendors, and take notes, please. Every other venue in the country, the pizzas at the Railway, they are something else. I'll actually say that the Hairy Dog, the guy outside there, does smash burgery kind of things, and again, take notes, please. Everybody, get yourself some of this on the go, because dirty kebab across the road just doesn't cut it after you've had that. We then moved to April. If you saw my short, you'll see that I've mentioned that we essentially did so many dates, but only got paid for some of them. And that's not because we got ripped off. It's because we did the Metal of the Masses competition this year, and we won it. But so all that means is you do 3 gigs, quarterfinal, semi-final, and a final. So we did 3 of those dates, and then we did Bloodstock, which again, you don't get paid for. It's exposure, and to be fair, an experience, which I'll touch on in a second. So after we did that in April, May, and June, we did July, where essentially we were just prepping for Bloodstock. Did a few photo shoots, things like that. Just tried to make sure we didn't come across as a bunch of amateurs. We self-printed a load of merch, because DIY. And then August we did Bloodstock, which was phenomenal. You get your weekend tickets included as an artist, so we managed to catch a load of bands that we want to see for ages. The headliners this year were Gojira, Trivium, and Machine Head. But then you had bands like Kublai Khan, Harriet. What a great day that was. A great weekend, I should say. Had an absolute blast. Would love to go back and do it again. Who knows? Bands do get asked back to play the New Blood stage occasionally, so that would be lovely. And yeah, when we got back, we played the Grove again in Newcastle with Thanks for the Memories, who are a like emo-y, Karangi themed covers band, and they're excellent. They're one of the few bands I've seen that plays Enter Shikari and does it right. We come into September, and September is where things start to go a bit. So there was a loss in the band, not a band member, like family member of the band, and as a result, we had to pull a few dates of a tour just because funeral arrangements and stuff we couldn't really make it work. So we did what we could around it, which meant that we only ended up playing in Whitehaven and Newcastle of that run. It was still fun, it just didn't get as far as we wanted to. And then we get to October, which again, we took a month off just to focus on decompressing after September with what had gone on and sort of just doing the mixing bits still. At this point, we'd taken the mixing and doing it ourselves just because the process felt a bit easier. Doing remote mixing and mastering can be a bit difficult, like trying to relay what your thoughts are through email chains and stuff. It's sometimes it works better to sit in a room and just go, this is what I'm talking about, this is kind of what I'm thinking. So that's what we've ended up doing. And then we get to November, and November we did another 3 dates. We went back to the Vic in Swindon. We did the Metal Monocle in Leicester, and we did the Frog and Fiddle in Cheltenham. Big shout out to the Frog and Fiddle. What a great place that is. Super, super friendly. First thing that happens when you walk through the door there is you're offered a cup of tea. What a great place. Like a lot of these places, you know, the Railway, the Vic, Hairy Dog, they're all absolute jewels in the crown of grassroots music, and you can't afford to let these places close. So yeah, and then at the end of that month, I announced my partnership with Collision Drumsticks, which I was super excited about, still am, and that partnership, I'm really looking forward to see where that goes in 2026. And then we get to December. So pretty much 12 months on from where we started this video. And obviously because we'd been away last December and didn't get time to spend with the family and stuff, keen to not do that again, we chose to put a show on in Newcastle the week before Christmas. And we say this every time we put a show on for Christmas. We're never doing it again. It's so stressful. You know, you stress out enough as it is with Christmas, and then you're trying to like push tickets and organise bands and like, it's so worth it. That show was really fun. I'll be honest, I was feeling a bit rough. I'd been to a surprise birthday the day before. Had what felt like the worst hangover in the world. I don't deserve to have had that hangover. I didn't drink much. But yeah, the energy in the room pulled us round, as did the Yark and Gregs I had. But yeah, super fun. Okay, stats time. The fun bit. How much money did we make? Well, I'll get to that. So we did 3,000 miles doing these gigs. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 3,200, something like that. That cost us roughly about £650 in fuel. Practices, we did 60 practices. That cost me personally £840, although there was 4 of us in the band, which means that overall those practices cost us around £3,300. 3,360 to be exact. We practiced for 180 hours, which wasn't just practicing the same set of songs, it was writing new stuff, practicing stuff that were written to play for Bloodstock. And we had 19 gigs, minus the ones that fell through, and of those we got paid for 15 of them. That means that we played an average of 12 hours and 30 minutes. We had average pay from the gigs were about £100, and that's varying between whether or not it's ticket sales on the door, or if it's free entry, it's what the bar can afford to give you, or the venue can afford to give you. And then we averaged on that roughly about £1,450 or something like that from tickets and door splits. We sold 41 items of merch, plus whatever we sold at Bloodstock. I don't have the items to hand, but I think that was about 21 t-shirts, something like that, which for us, really good. When you see how far down the listing we are, it was nice to see people wearing our shirts, to be honest. So that came to about £700, that kind of area. And what I will say is that this doesn't include what we spent on hotels, the cost of food that we spent when we were like Bloodstock and other places. Doesn't, include the cost of generally just playing your instrument. There's guitar strings and cables and drum skins and, in my case, cymbals. So I'll do a quick breakdown here. Yeah, big loss. We lost money. Next year, this year, 2026, we're going to lose money. We've got that record to put out. When you factor in recording costs, press, PR, replication, because as much as nobody buys CDs, you got to have them. Vinyl, if we choose to do vinyl run. T-shirts, if we choose to do some T-shirts for this. And then you've got your publication, so you've got to pay to distribute your music to Spotify and Amazon Music and all that kind of jazz. So, we're talking another $3,000 plus music videos. That's going to be another grand each, I would say. So yeah, all in all, big old net loss.